Today I get to update you on Colin's 3D printed parallel blocks to make Emily Adams parallel guides for the Festool track. Hi, I'm Ron Paulk, and this is the Smart Woodshop. If you want to get yourself a set of plans to build one of my workbenches or the Smart Woodshop, you can click on the link in the description of this video down below. Also, if you like these videos, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And remember, when you subscribe, ring that little bell so you'll know when I drop a new video. I've been asked a bunch of times after I introduced Colin's block a few weeks ago about getting a set for yourself because Colin offered that. Well, today I am going to give you his contact information. I'm going to put that also in the description of this video. Disclaimer, I'm not involved in this. I'm going to put you directly in contact with Colin. Hi, Ron. Thank you again for this opportunity and your advice. I really hope I can provide a net value add for your viewers and have actually been contemplating creating other 3D widgets and further improving Emily's design when I have time available. This little project has been quite a roller coaster of excitement and mixed with frustration, and has turned into an all-consuming project over the last 3 weeks. I was in the process of restoring a vintage Airstream that has come to a complete, absolute halt due to this 3D printing endeavor. I did take your suggestion of attempting to outsource the 3D printing, but had found it too cost prohibitive at $17 per set without hardware, plus a 3-week lead time. This information led me to an in-depth direct cost analysis, finding that there are so many indirect costs while I have been learning and attempting to scale production. One, I have had issues with the filament consistency and availability. I thought an additional printer to meet production demand. I purchased the same make and model and either received a gray market or a lemon. This has led to countless hours of wasted supplies and time. I also have been waiting on hardware delivery to supply the complete kit to your viewers. So 3 weeks after your initial post on YouTube, I can produce about 6 to 8 sets per day, depending on how temperamental the second printer is being. After reviewing the production cost and adding hardware, I need to charge $15 per set or be content to run a deficit for a while and hope to recoup losses with volume sales. Another issue is that shipping is $7.65, bringing the total to $22.65. $15 for the set of blocks with the hardware is giving it away. If it's 100 orders and everybody's satisfied, then Colin will go on his way and it'll have been a fun little project, and all of you who want them will benefit. But if say 1,000 orders are placed, then we're talking about scale, and Colin isn't going to be able to produce that many sets with 2 printers. So what does he do? Does he buy another 20 printers and have them running in the room and all the filament and the big expense of scaling that up? Or does he farm them out to a big house that has a lot of really fast printers, in which case he found that just the cost to have the bare blocks produced to him would be $17 per set, more than he's charging with the hardware. So the other option, of course, is to bring the cost down like the big boys do, is to go to a different production process. 3D printing is good, but not really for high volume. And to do that, you have to go to injection molding, and just the mold is a $10,000 investment, and then you've got to have the big machine. So he would have to sub that out, and an initial order to justify that, he'd probably have to put out $250,000, you know, to get started. That's why the big boys can do that. So I'm pretty excited. This is just more of a grassroots, and it'll be interesting to follow along and see how it goes. So if you want to get yourself a set of these, you might want to be one of the first to order it and see how things go. And now you get to hear from the man himself. How are you doing, Colin?
Hi Ron, my name is Colin Brown. I'm down here in sunny Florida, and I wanted to take an opportunity to thank you for all your videos and educational wisdom over the years. It's been a great inspiration, and I really enjoy you sharing all your videos and your plans for your viewers. I bought my first house, the worst house on the block at 23. Just fresh. Actually, I was still in the Army, just getting ready to get out of the Army. Bought that house, did a lot of work to that. Bought a second house just after graduating, and then did a bunch of work to that. I don't even know what I did to that house. Roof, total interior kind of redo restoration. Also the worst house on the block. And then I bought the second worst house on the block, and we're still here at this place. I've put a new metal roof on it myself. We've done a seawall here. We've upgraded from, I think it was a 75 or maybe 125 amp, some smaller circuit, to 200 amp service. Really just kind of updated this 70s home to 2020 standards. We're down here in Florida. We had a lot of hurricane requirements to meet for roofing, things like that. So I've kind of always been in the do-it-yourself mode. Behind me you can see a Creality Ender 3 Pro that I purchased in late 2019 on a kind of a super sale. And I bought this maybe not knowing what I'd do with it. I had some loose concepts or ideas in place. I've been struggling for the last couple years on whether to actually make this purchase, and I'm actually really glad I did. There are some resources out there for woodworkers that use 3D printers for jigs, for vacuum attachments, for all kinds of things, really. Anything that you can think of that's out there, or that either you want to replicate or create, you can essentially do it with a 3D printer, given size constraints, things like that. So for the woodworkers out there, and there's plenty of support channels on YouTube and other websites, I did some vacuum cleaner attachment adapters. I've done some battery adapters, things like that. But the reason why everybody's probably watching this video today is for the Festool track saw guide rail. So I took that concept, those measurements, actually had a friend help me in SketchUp and design that out, and then I import it into another software that comes with the 3D printer, and then you export it back out as what's called G code. I think it's called guide code, or basically it's machine language, XYZ, all three axes for printing out. And so basically what you see behind me is, in many respects, something that we would use as woodworkers. Ron often mentions the poor man's CNC machine, the router. This is basically a reverse of a CNC machine, where CNC removes material, or a router removes material. The 3D printer takes material and places it down on the bed. It basically has the components of movement like a CNC machine, but it takes the difference is it lays it on the bed, as you can see behind me, and then it takes the spool of plastic, which you see the green roll of plastic, kind of like a weed eater plastic, and it feeds that through the hot end, and it melts the plastic and gives it a finite diameter, and explicitly tells it how hot to make that, how much to lay down, what the speed of lay down is, and then of course the speed of the movement of the head. So here is the actual bracket, this time printed in Seahawks green. If I put it right up close to the camera lens, you might be able to make out some fine lines, some cross hatching, and then what's called layering. So each one is not necessarily perfect in the way it prints out, but it definitely provides a very strong, I don't want to say unbreakable, but it is definitely, I'm putting all the force of my hands with torsion on there, and I can't get any flexion or torsion out of this. I think I have this designed to where the top, bottom, and sides are 2 or 3 millimeters thick, and then what it does, and you'll see in some photo inserts if they're inserted in the video, it uses a 25% infill, like a cross hatching. It's not honeycomb; it's actually square or triangular, but it really provides that interior strength without adding too much weight, and also saving on material and plastic. Material for my preference is called PET G. It's kind of like a second generation plastic, as I understand it. I'm not an expert by any means, but typical or historic 3D printers would use ABS and some other plastics that had off-gassing during the printing process. I print in a spare room at the house, so I didn't want to have any concerns or worries about that. And I've been really happy with the durability.
From the last video, this is the block he sent me. You saw me install it and show you how it fit, and it worked great, and I made a couple little modifications to it. Well, Colin followed that along and actually modified them quite a bit himself, so they're different. He has put the nuts in to the blocks, and then some Phillips head screws, and that is to attach the tape through the bottom there, so it just screws right in. Of course, you have to make the holes in your tape. This is, you know, a do-it-yourself project. In the kit, a shortened toilet flange bolt and a wing nut. I have come to the conclusion, and I talked to Colin about this, that the saw rides over this section, and so as you plunge in, you will hit whatever is there at some point and lose a little bit of your cut. When I plunge the saw, I can get around 1.75 inches, maybe slightly more. So I lose a little bit of the cut. We could use a set screw and a wrench and tighten it and have it flush and get the cut all the way down. And I have considered that. The downside to that, of course, is then you've got a tool to put these off and on. I rarely need to cut that thick. I'm mostly doing 3/4 plywood, you know, maybe 1 inch or so. So 1 3/4 is plenty. And if I get into a situation where I've got something unique to do that's thick and I need more depth of cut, then I'll probably just work something out for that project. But for my production and what I do and cut a lot with these tracks, this has worked out and proven itself for years, this particular design. And of course, Colin's block is just taking advantage of that proven design. Emily's design is not that difficult to make, particularly since the block is the hardest part. And with Colin doing that, it's really quite easy to make. So I'm going to, in the next couple of weeks, make another set, and I'll record that and show you and give you the dimensions, because there are no plans for this. You sort of have to make it with the video. So I'll make a set from beginning to end, utilizing the Festool ruler and Colin's block, and we'll put it together very quickly and easily. So that video will be coming, and that should help quite a bit. Colin sent me a set that I'm using here and 2 additional sets. What I'm going to do is give these 2 sets to 2 of my subscribers. At this point, I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have some kind of contest. So that'll be another video coming very shortly. I got to think about what I'm going to do, but I'm have a real easy contest, and then I'm going to let you, my subscribers, pick the winners. It's been a lot of fun working with Colin. I'm really anxious to see how this turns out, and I hope you're able to get your hands on a set of these blocks. Thanks for dropping into the Smart Wood Shop. Stay safe and have a great day.